Welcome back to Trogly to the Trogly guitar. So,
Davie504 needs our help.
OMG.
What's up, slappers? Today, we review the Davie504 guitar. Davie needs our help. To get his basses back, he needs 9 million subscribers before the end of December, or else he'll be cursed to be a guitar player forever.
Subscribe now.
So he graciously did the intro of this video
Approved.
in order to help me help him. If you're not familiar with Davie504's channel, he's a fantastic musician and a pretty funny guy in general.
My biggest goal in life is to own all the basses.
But he's recently been cursed to only use a guitar until he gets 9 million subscribers. But the guitar that he was playing, I thought it was kind of cool. And I figured there's a lot of other people out there that are probably like me going, I wonder what model that is. Because, I mean, take a look at this thing. It looks pretty cool. It's got a weird pickup up there, like a humbucker. It's got some sort of an offset guitar, but maybe somebody who's not really familiar with musical instruments might not know exactly what it is. So I went to Fender's website, and I just happened to find what model it was. And I was like, hey, you know what? Why not? I would have never bought this guitar if it wasn't for Davie504. So this is one of those rare instances of an influencer influencing an influencer who then influences you to be influenced by this. This is the Fender Jaguar Player Series guitar in the Tidepool finish, and it's the exact same model that Davie's been using in his videos. We get the Jaguar pickup up here with the humbucker in the bridge, and the Davie official color is called Tidepool. It's this nice blue, kind of Pelham bluish if you're familiar with Gibson terms, but you can also find it in a Capri orange, a black finish, and I think the 3-color sunburst has to be the coolest. But these are not particularly expensive guitars by any means. They're $730 brand new, still in production, so you can get them at any Fender authorized dealer, and they're made in Mexico, so a great little player's guitar. So let's go ahead and throw this thing on the workbench and take an individual look at its parts and specs. And don't forget to subscribe to Davie so he doesn't have to play this terrible guitar anymore. Inside the Player Series Jaguar. Okay, so the Player Series is essentially they take like their classic flagship models, they slightly modify them to make them cheaper and better for the like modern day player. Like for example, a regular Jaguar would actually have 2 of these single coil pickups. They would have the rhythm lead circuit here, and they would have like a 3 switching system to choose between your pickups and whatnot. This one, it's been simplified a little bit. So our neck pickup is like the regular Jaguar style. It's got the claw, or whatever you want to call it, around it. And Fender just calls it the Player Series Alnico 2 single coil. Whereas the bridge pickup in the Player Series is actually a humbucker, so that's going to be a way different sound than a regular Jaguar. And this one's called the Player Series Alnico 3 humbucker, so you got a little bit of different magnets in each of these. Nothing too fancy on the back, you get some shielding, and it's just a single 2-way switch right here. Now what I'm guessing that does is it splits your humbucker into a single coil, so you still have the double single coil, but you can also have the humbucker tones. And that's what your toggle switch looks like on this one. It's just a 3-position switch. Now, one bad thing I will say about this is this knob does not want to stay on. So I try to like stuff some paper towels in it just to tighten up the fit. And yeah, I don't know. I think it got broken in transit. Like it got smashed down in the box. Because I've never had that issue before on these style of switches. But here's what our body routes look like, extra deep right there, and you could put a humbucker in the neck if you really wanted to. I think it might be close. Yeah, it'll fit in there just fine. Moving on from all this, we get a master volume and a master tone, and these pots were made in Korea. And the output jack is also on the front side of the guitar. And here's what it looks like under there. The bridge is the standard style that you'll find on these. Individual saddles for adjustment. And it just goes in like that. And here's your tremolo system. I'm not going to bother taking that out. You can check out this video if you want to see what one of those looks like. My advice to you, don't take yours apart. Feeding all those wires, making sure it's all flush before mounting it back on is such a tedious task. But hey, we finally got it back in here without the plastic covering on the pickguard. So as far as our pickup readings here, let's go ahead and check that out. Our bridge pickup is a hot 12.79 k ohms. Our neck position, pretty hot too, 9.71. And within the middle position, we get a 5.59. I guess now it's time to test my theory here. 12.78, yep, it splits it, 6.5. So down is split, up is regular. Underneath the Tidepool finish is an alder body, likely multi-pieced. And then moving on to the fretboard, we have a POW ferro fretboard on top of a maple neck. We've got 22 frets on the 24-inch scale length, and it is a 9.5-inch radius for the curvature of the neck. The synthetic bone nut measures 1.65 inches, and up by the 12th, we're getting about 2.01. First fret neck depth, 0.84, and that increases to 0.89. And Fender calls this the modern C-shaped neck profile, so it's kind of slim, nice and rounded. Great neck profile if you like the slimmer feel, but not like too slim. I mean, this actually still has a decent amount of chunk to it, but it's not like a chunky neck. As far as the face of the headstock goes, the lacquer is a little bit tinted. Got the black plastic cap of the truss rod, and you get the modern style tuners that wrap around the post instead of going down in. One string tree with the Fender Jaguar logo, and some pretty cool wood grain. Moving on to the back, not too much to talk about here. Strap buttons in your regular locations. You get a little comfort carve right there. 4 bolt-on neck, no comfort carves or anything like that. But this is a gloss polyurethane finish all over this guitar. But the back side is actually the satin finish. So that kind of helps you slide against it and not stick to the finish. Some people don't like the gloss necks. And some people do, but that's just a little modernized feature that they did back here. But the face of the headstock still has the gloss finish. And here's our serial number on this one, dating it to 2020, made in Mexico. And as far as the weight, this thing weighs 8 pounds, 11.5 ounces. This is a very chunky guitar. I know that doesn't sound like a super heavy guitar, but that's almost light Les Paul territory. That was the first thing I noticed about this taking it out of the box. It's a lot chunkier and bigger than I thought it was going to be. Davie makes it look tiny. So let's go ahead, plug this thing in, and hear how it sounds.
Stop. I don't usually do this kind of videos, but today I'm forced to. Guitar battle challenge.
Okay, now that the fun's done, let's just run through the tones real quick. So bridge pickup in full humbucker mode. Switch to single coil. Very distinctive difference. Then switching over to the middle position, you actually can still control that. So you can have both of them in single coil mode like this. Or switch it into humbucker in single. then just the neck pickup, you can't do anything fancy with this one. It's just pure single coils. And you can also do all that with a little bit of distortion. Gotta say, I really enjoyed this guitar. I'm not a big fan of the shape, but I understand why Davie probably went for this one, because it's kinda like its bass. I've never been much of an offset guy myself, but this neck pickup, for whatever reason, it kind of sounds like Buckethead type stuff, like when you have the coil split on that Les Paul. I mean, take a listen to this. But yet at the same time, the clean tones are really good too. The only bad thing about this thing is it doesn't really like to stay in tune pretty much at all. And I lubricated the saddles, I lubricated the nut. Maybe I'm just not doing something right with the trem system. I can never seem to keep these guys in tune, but that also seems to be what people say all the time about these. So I think to make this my perfect guitar, I would just, stop bar tail it, but then you wouldn't be able to do the fun part. But overall, yes, I would suggest checking out this guitar. I had a lot of fun with it. Whether you're just a fan of Davie or you're just kind of in the market for kind of a quirky guitar that actually sounds and plays pretty good. At the price point, I think this thing is perfectly acceptable. Now, there were a few things that I found, like I think it was this screw is completely stripped out. It's not really even securing to anything stock from the factory. It's strange, the bridge, as I was playing this, these little Allen key screws for the saddles, they just came all the way up just from me, playing and strumming. So that seems to be something kind of strange. They shouldn't really do that. But other than a few odd complaints here and there, I think you would definitely enjoy one of these if you want to check it out. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning into this episode of the Trogly's Guitar Show. Hey, if you're new here, I upload every day about guitars. And this was just kind of a fun one to help Davie out, break his curse. Go check out his channel. Take care.